Guys, you gotta stop sabotaging yourselves. This is essentially the largest obstacle that human beings face. It's our own brains. And you may I think everyone realizes this, but I don't think everyone really puts it as the primary reason why our life is terrible. Look, I understand that systems are breaking down, countries are collapsing. There's a lot of new changes that are occurring, which is disrupting the natural human, the natural human way of doing things, like just with a lot of AI and things like that. And the thing is that there's always a way to make your life at least somewhat better. Just in my opinion, I just don't think that anyone's life is just simply doomed and that's it. Like, there's always a way to make some things a little bit better, and trust me, it's like, I have a privileged passport. I was lucky to be born in a developed country, but I've had my fair share of struggle, and I'm not saying this to one up anyone or to say that I have it the worst, but like I've lost everything. Couldn't move. Like I lost my safety net, lost my home, became homeless, had a heart attack, came up from an abusive background, and it's just the thing that is going to help you is honestly just realizing that a lot of times your brain is going to try to sabotage you no matter what. And I met this Ukrainian MILF in Bali. We had a great chat. She was actually lovely. And we had this conversation, about change and things like that. And the thing is that our brain always deep down, we always want a better reality for ourselves. Like, we know what we need to do. We know what sort of ideal way of life is for us. Good relationships, good health, financially well off, achieving our dreams, having our hobbies, things like that, good group of friends, the list goes on. But the thing is, even though we try to conceive it with our brain, since there's no evidence that it's occurred, we don't actually know how good it would be. And the way we currently are with our current habits and the people around us, even though they may not be good for us, or just, perhaps just being broke or things like that, not being in the job you want, it's just, that's our frame of reference. That's what we're in at the moment. That's our identity. And the thing is that your brain neurologically hates change. I don't know all the scientific terms and also just the general science behind the brain, but it's just wired in a way where it's supposed to be functioning the way it is, and it's a muscle. And we can change it. We change the muscle, we change the neurons, but our brain hates it, and I don't know why. But you just have to realize that naturally your brain is going to go against you, and there's going to be, at first I think if you really have a tough time changing, then you have to do it through brute force, through sheer willpower. That's the beginning. And then once you do that, you have some sort of evidence that you are capable of changing things, and then you can figure out other healthy alternative ways to continue to improve and change your neuroplasticity. However, just know that like your brain tries to sabotage you, and it's just, I'm telling you stop, because it's like I'm trying to do that too. We're all trying to do that, just limiting beliefs and things like that. A lot of the thoughts that you have are not even real thoughts. It's literally, it could be from your ego or from trauma. Your real voice, your real thoughts, you're not even that conscious of it until you, like, for me personally, when I observe the different voices in my head, not in a schizophrenic way, but like just from, your dialogue, I can only vividly observe those thoughts when I'm high off weed. I don't know why, but it just gives me a very clear perspective on my different thoughts, and it helps me observe and label, oh, this one's not my true thought, that one's coming from the ego, that one's from trauma. But the thing is that things like trauma and all that stuff is just like, it is essentially, it's terrible. Obviously we all have our baggage, but it's just repeated loops and repeated cycles of thoughts that are not even true for the most part, but they've been inflicted upon you by the harsh world out there, and you know, maybe some disgusting people that you've encountered in your life. And it's up to you to break free from those thoughts, and it's hard, and that's why I think we resort to vices and addictions and dopamine hits, because it's very painful. You have to face it head on. But if you don't, the problem is you sabotage yourself and you remain in those loops, and you may say, oh, well, it doesn't matter, you know, life ends anyway. But it's like, life does end, but wouldn't you want to at least see where you can take it and where you can go and how good it can get? Like, you just simply don't know how good it could get, because if your life is like this right now, it's probably not the best. And look, that's just what I wanted to say. Like, just beware that for the most part you are sabotaging yourself, and we all do it, but it takes a tremendous level of discipline, and you have to, it's just so many skills, and you know, it takes a lot of work to face it, because you have to humble yourself, you have to put your ego aside, you have to put your victim mentality aside, and it's going to be very uncomfortable. You might have to disrupt your entire bias, your entire identity, and essentially quantum leap into a new version of yourself, and it's difficult. But that's all I wanted to say, guys. Stop sabotaging yourself, okay?